So Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you found yourself in the world of PowerPoint and presentations.
Well, it was actually by accident, which I think most of us probably have found it by accident, because I was in a corporate job and I had to do presentations across the country about an initiative on a task force. And I would have people come up to me afterwards and say, "Wow, Dave, that was a really good presentation. Why did you do it that way?" And I didn't know. I knew what worked because of practice, but I didn't know why. And so that's really got me into the industry of figuring out, why do certain things work well in presentations and why do certain things not work so well in presentations? And that really led me into thinking about the research part of it and what do audiences find helpful and what do audiences want presenters to stop doing? And that's really what led me all those years ago to start the survey.
That was actually my second question, but you led me to the question. So the question is, why did you find the need to survey people about their presentations? And you sort of answered that. But is there more you'd like to add?
Yeah, because it's not just the wondering about it, but saying, how do we get some data? How do we get people to tell us what they're really thinking? Because if you ask them one-on-one, they're not necessarily going to tell you, because maybe the presenter they're thinking about is there in the room, maybe it's a colleague. So doing this anonymously, where they don't have to put their name or their organization in at all, allows them, I find, to be more open and tell us what we really need to hear. And that's what we find in the survey results, is people are being very open and very honest. And I think that's what is most helpful to presenters, is to find out what do audience members really think, not what a presenter is going to ask the audience. And, if you ask your peers or colleagues, how did I do? You're likely going to hear an answer that says, "Oh, you did well. That was great." That may not be what they're really thinking.
And so when you did the first survey, or you did one of the older surveys, what was it that sort of, made you look at it closer and, oh, I never realized that this would be the case? Was it something that surprised you?
Well, I think that in the early surveys, it surprised me that the most annoying, when I asked people what's most annoying about bad PowerPoint presentations, by far the number one answer was the speaker reading their slides to the audience.
Yes.
And I've never done that, so I didn't know that that was as prevalent as it was. But it was very, very strong in those early surveys. And I thought perhaps, okay, well, maybe that's something people just are familiar with presenting.
Yes.
That'll surely go down dramatically over time. And as we see even in the results of the latest survey, it is again by far the number one thing that annoys audiences, is when the speaker reads the slides to them. And frankly, Gitesh, I'm not even really sure how we can solve that. I keep telling people about it in the survey results. You keep sharing it on your site when the survey results come out. And some people are getting better, for sure, but there's still way too many people who are reading their slides.
And there are way too many more people creating presentations now than when you started the survey. So, percentage-wise, probably the same number of people are annoyed with people just speaking over there, but it's a much larger amount of people now. So, how many years has it been since you're doing this survey?
Well, I think the first survey was in 2003, so it's been 16 years, and I've really appreciated all the people who have taken the time to share their honest opinions with me over that time. I'm sure some people have taken every single survey, but that's people come in and out, and really grateful for all the people who take the time and really share as openly and honestly as they do.
So what do all these surveys indicate to you? Have you witnessed a larger pattern somewhere?
Well, the largest pattern, I think, is the very first survey response that I talk about in all of my reports. And it's one that I really wasn't expecting to have to talk about, but it's how prevalent presentations are in today's world, whether it's business or academic or non-academic governmental. Presentations are becoming the de facto way we communicate in organizations today. And you can see the dramatic growth in the number of people who say that they see at least one presentation every single day. And in fact, in the latest survey, over 78% of people said they see 2 or more presentations every single week. Presentations has become the way we communicate. Now, is that correct? I'm not sure it is. I've seen it taken too far, where even emails are not written, but you put together a PowerPoint slide and attach it to the email instead of writing an email. That's too far. But I think when that is going to become prevalent, we need to educate presenters on what they should do. And unfortunately, at least in the North America educational system, we don't really teach presentation skills. We just assume that, well, you know, you've got PowerPoint on your laptop, you should know how to present. Well, it's, you know, it's interesting because when you think about the other Office applications, just because we give somebody Word, do we expect that they are going to be an award-winning crime thriller novelist? No, that would be crazy. But we do that with PowerPoint, is we just assume, well, you've got the software, you should know how to present. And I think our educational system really needs to focus on this area because it is something that all organizations are expecting their employees to do well.
So you think lack of education is a very important aspect that is often overlooked?
Oh, it very much is, because when you think about it, and I ask people, I said, did you learn this in high school? Did you learn this in your undergraduate? Did you learn this in your graduate degree? Did you learn this in your professional designation? And all the time they're saying, no, never heard about it, never seen it. In fact, one of the, I think in the top 15 pages on my website is an article I wrote on how students can create an effective presentation, because students are creating this all the time. Because our kids are in their early 20s, and they had to start doing PowerPoint presentations when they were in grade 3 in elementary school. So this has been going on for decades, and we just have not trained our teachers, we haven't trained our educational system to improve presentations. And if we don't train them, we can't expect our students to learn it.
You know, and I always wonder that the most difficult part here is that they don't know that they don't know PowerPoint. Most of them think they are awesome at PowerPoint. And
yeah, and the thing is that if they don't know how to do something, the first thing they'll do is they'll ask somebody they know. So in a business setting, they'll ask a colleague, or they'll ask the person in their office who everybody says, oh, they know it the best. So they'll ask them, but they don't really know, is that the best answer or not? They don't know where to go. So they'll Google, but they don't really know, when you're Googling or searching on YouTube, you don't really know who produced that video, whether it's the right advice or not. So that's one of the reasons in all of the workshops that I do is when people ask me, you know, how do I learn these features? How do I learn more about PowerPoint? I always send them to your site. I send them to Indezine.com because that's the best place for tutorials by somebody I trust. And that's the thing that we have to make sure is people know who they should trust in the presentation world. And that's why, you know, organizations like the Presentation Guild, conferences like the Presentation Summit, those are avenues where we identify the experts in our industry, and those people should learn from. And that's why I think it's so valuable that we have this industry organization, so that others outside the industry can identify who they should be listening to.
We've gone through so many surveys, Dave, and for 16 years. And there's always a question, do you see a pattern? What do you see in the first survey? How do you see today? But what about future trends? Do the past and the present trends indicate where we will be headed in the future? Do you want to forecast something?
Well, I think that one of the things that I know audiences want are more visuals. And one of the interesting things that happened, not in this, and it was a trend that actually went down in this survey. So the previous couple of surveys, we saw more and more response to, you know what, visuals are too complex. I can't understand the visuals. And what I hear, and that went down actually this time, and people did not see that as big an issue. And here's the reason. I don't think it's because presenters got better. I think it's because presenters stopped trying to use certain types of visuals. I think what happened was they went back to saying, you know what, I'm just going to create a document. I'm going to copy the entire spreadsheet in instead of trying to figure out a diagram, figure out a graph. Because when I asked what types of slides people are seeing, by far text slides was by far the biggest, without a doubt. And the least used slide was a diagram, where in so many cases, if you're talking about steps or a process, that's the right visual to use. But if you go, oh, you know what, it takes me 45 minutes to create that in PowerPoint, you know what, I'll just type a list of numbered bullets. It's just easier that way.
Absolutely.
And and because it's easier, they'll do it. And I think that's again where that education about the tool comes into play, to say, you know what, you can actually learn some techniques within the tool where you don't need to take 45 minutes. You can create a good diagram in 5 minutes, and there's a lot of pre-made content out there that you can, make available to yourself, download for free, and start not from scratch, but start with a pre-made visual.
So you have a lot of resources as well, Dave. Can you tell us a little bit about your books and your website to the audience so that they can go and find something more from you?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to thinkoutsidetheslide.com, I have written over 450 issues of my newsletter, over 100 other articles. There's a ton of content there. And when I talk about pre-made, there's a section on my website that allows you to download 77 pre-made timelines and calendar visuals. The key is to recognize that you want to improve. Yes. And be willing to take action. One of the things I have on my site is an effective PowerPoint presentation best practices audit. So you can go through and take this audit and determine where are the areas I need to improve. And then look for the experts. Look for those tutorials on the features at Indezine.com. Look for some of the advice that I provide and my insights about how do you structure certain types of visuals, or how do you think about certain types of presentations, and take it step by step. The one concern that I have that always comes up in all of my customized workshops is people want to do too much in the next presentation. Take it slowly. Only work on a few slides, improve those, see how well they do, see the audience's improved reaction. That gives you the encouragement to keep improving. This is not going to happen overnight. It is going to be something that you will take maybe 6 or 9 or 12 months. And you'll look back and go, wow, my presentations are so much better than they are before. Because, Hitesh, you and I have been doing this for over 20 years. We didn't get this expertise overnight. Yes. Nobody is going to make this change overnight. Take your time. Take each step, learn from it, apply it to your presentations, see the improvement, use that as the encouragement to keep making further improvements.
So I think that's excellent advice, Dave, and anyone using the advice that you have provided today is certainly going to end up with better presentations. Thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed interviewing you today, and thank you again.
Thanks so much, Hitesh. You've been a great resource to the presentation community for over 2 decades now, and I'm so glad that we continue to have a great relationship and share not only the results of the survey, but you help encourage people to take the survey. And I look forward to the next time I get to see you in person instead of just over a video camera.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dave. So,
great. Thanks, Hitesh.
Explore more concepts at Indezine.com.
Indezine.
Make better presentations fast.